And Tony, I don't want to forget about your other business, and I'm going to pivot from the finding of women's opportunities out there. How did courageous women rise up, get birthed? How was it conceptualized, and how did it morph into what it is today?
Well, the biggest thing about that is in the midst of all the things that I was going through, one of the biggest things that helped me actually come out of my depression was when I started volunteering and helping in these other organizations. And in that process, I think it is easy for most women to see when you go to a networking event, often you see a lot of men in the room and they're networking and having conversations. And I had always heard throughout my life is that so many business deals are made on the golf course, you know, and it's really about finding that niche, that area in which you can connect with other people. Well, one of the things that started happening and that I started noticing, because, like, for instance, when I was on the social services board, the director of social services was a woman. And she was responsible for so many things, the budget of the county and making changes in people's lives. And throughout all of these different organizations and the things that I was a part of, similar conversations kept coming up. There were so many women who wanted to do more, but they struggled to find their niche. They struggled to find the support they needed. They struggled to really feel comfortable where they were. Because I would often notice that many of the women, when I would go to these networking meetings, they would be kind of off in the corner, or you'd see a little group of women just talking amongst themselves, but they weren't really integrating themselves with everybody in the room. And it's over the last few years, we've had those conversations about sometimes you feel like you can't get a seat at the table in order to have those kind of serious business discussions. Well, now we have that attitude, bring your own table, make them come to your table. So one of the things that I noticed and I learned and just in general conversations, and I don't know what it is, people would come to me and start talking to me. Many women were going through not only mental but physical challenges that prevented them from really probably fully growing in their careers or developing their business in the way they wanted to develop it.
Exactly.
And so, kind of, when I lost my mom, and that's when I wrote my first book, A Diamond Born of Fortitude, in that process, I started also doing professional training. There's a lot of people out here coaching people and talking to people and helping them to grow and to develop and try to find their place, try to find their niche and figure out what it is they really want to do in life. Many people are going to jobs and they're miserable. They get up every morning, they get dressed, they go to work, and they're gritting their teeth when they walk through the door. Well, one of the things I learned over the years is what really created my issues, and I ended up with those autoimmune diseases. It was because of stress. It was all brought on by stress. So being a mom, being now I'm a Mimi, being a business owner, all of these things, they pull at you. But in the process of going through these things, everybody's life is full of challenges. When you hit a certain age, you reach that point where now you're the caretakers for your parents. And so your life is constantly morphing and changing. Me and my husband kind of joke about it now that it just seems like so many people are passing away, or we know people who are going through these different health challenges. And we realize we're more aware as we're getting older. But I realized that when I was younger, I didn't really have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody to help me understand or manage through some of the challenges that I was running into in my life. So I wanted to kind of become that for somebody else. Because what I realized in a lot of these networking meetings was that a lot of women just needed support. They needed to know that they weren't alone in their challenges and their struggles and the things that they had been through. And I realized at this point, if I didn't know anything better, I knew how to come through a challenge. I knew how to step back, regroup, and just come back stronger than ever. I was determined I was never going to let anything keep me down, and I wanted to start supporting other women in that same way. So that's kind of where once I wrote that book, it just came to me. I was doing some professional development training with a great coach. And she said, "What do you know better than anybody else? What is it that you have lived through? What have you experienced?" And so I realized I could tap into the traumas that I had been through in my life, the challenges that I had been through in my life. And eventually we just started brainstorming, and I came up with the title Courageous Woman Rise Up, because we are powerful. We manage and navigate through life every day. But the part that we struggle with the most is taking care of ourselves.
Toni,
So,
that is
so
so
everybody
hard.
always tells me, "Well, you don't look like you're sick. You don't look like anything is wrong." And I say, "Thank you. I thank God I don't look like what I've been through." I consider myself blessed, but I want to help other women manage and get through those same type of challenges and become all that they can be. Don't
Toni,
just exist in this world. Be who you are and be the most powerful version of yourself that you can be.
and rise up.
Yes.
Toni, thank you. What a heart-filling, heartwarming, and heart-lifting interview this was. I will also ask you to give us the links to your book. And I think it's books now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes, there are multiple books. I do have links to a few of my books through my website, which is tonichavis.com.
Yes.
I also have a separate website that I'm building and developing for Courageous Woman Rise Up. And on the Courageous Woman website, what I'm doing is I'm working on different courses to help women learn how to navigate through the stress and the challenges of their life, and
Yes.
how to build and overcome and to move through those things. So those things are in work. But at tonichavis.com, you can find the links to many of my books and information about those. But A Diamond Border Fortitude, which was my first solo book that I wrote, that's available on Amazon.
Yes.
So if you
I'll
Google
put
my
the
name
links.
or A Diamond Border Fortitude, so either way, you can find my book through Amazon. And excuse me. But I'm working on another book now. And actually this book is more about focusing on, just stress and trauma and how to learn to manage that. Because what most people don't understand, or they don't realize until it's too late, is how stress affects your body.
That will
How it
be very strong given your story and how you basically became paralyzed because of the stress that you gave yourself.
Yes,
That
yes.
that is a very strong message. Toni Chavis, thank you so much for today's interview. My
Thank
heart is full. We will be including your links in the description underneath our video, of course.